Hey guys, it's Cody. So, like I said in the description when I uploaded the initial call for questions, I didn't realize that it had been so long since I did my last Q&A. I really thought that it had been like a couple months, but I was like, you know what? I want to do one anyway. And then I looked and it had literally been over a year, so yeah. Thank you so much to everybody who asked questions. I really love doing these, and there's a lot of great questions this time. I'm really excited to answer them, so let's just get right into it. What is your favorite part of the editing process? Honestly, I like all of the different parts for different reasons, but I feel like my favorite part is like when I first place the clips down, because like I feel like at least my editing style really relies on matching clips to lyrics, or just using clips to tell a story. So even before I put down any effects or any text or anything like that, just seeing the clips put down and like seeing the idea coming to life out of my head is so exciting for me. So yeah, I think that initial laying the clips down is definitely my favorite part. What bands do you like to edit with the most? So usually when I pick songs to edit, it's not really like I'm going after a specific artist. I get a lot of my music from YouTube, so like there's not a lot of artists that I specifically like, to be honest. I did edit with a couple Big Time Rush songs for the hell of it when I was in my Big Time Rush era, which, you know, let's be honest, it didn't really leave. So maybe them, but also The Neighborhood, to be honest. Like, they've been one of my favorite bands for years now, and I always like editing with their songs. How did you choose your Animash personas? Since I've been editing for so long, my personas have changed quite a couple times. But as of right now, I currently have Rano, Robin from Wolfwalkers, Caltag, Scamp, and Alu as my personas. I picked Rano because I honestly feel like he's me a lot. Like, I relate to him a lot. He's very stupid, he's very loud, he's kind of an asshole, but he just wants people to like him. I picked Robin because Wolfwalkers was like a total, like, it was such a interesting film for me to watch because I felt understood. I don't know, I feel like that movie really connected with, like, I don't want to say the wolf kids, but honestly that's how it feels. Like, the kids like me who felt like that and then grew up realizing like we're otherkin and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, that movie really felt like an unintentional love letter to like otherkin, and I just really connected with the movie as a whole for that reason. So that's kind of why I picked Robin as a persona. Caltag, I picked him because he's like the closest thing to a Shepsky that I could find in Animash media, and he's really cute. I think he's really underrated. I love his design so much. I really wish we got to see more of him, to be honest. Scamp is another character I really relate to. I relate to his entire story of feeling like he doesn't belong, feeling like he wants to run away and find something bigger, something better, somewhere where he feels like he fits in. Just kind of being a loner loser. And Alu I picked kind of for the same reason. She's honestly really similar to Scamp. She has that like rebellious streak, that not knowing who she is, not knowing where she belongs, and I really relate to that. So Scamp and Alu are both for that reason. Which non-Animash media do you want to edit with more? I honestly have so much non-Mash media that I really love editing with. I haven't finished my Walking Dead rewatch, and so, like, I fell off of that for months now. It's so bad. But once I finish that, I'd really like to make a couple edits with The Walking Dead. I think that show is really fun. It's really nostalgic for me, and I think there's a lot of things you can do with it. So I'd really like to use The Walking Dead more. I also just kind of want to get into more movies and shows in general and just start editing with them. Pretty recently, I've actually been making my way through Matthew Lillard's, like, filmography, like, the films and shows that he's been in, and there's so much good content that, like, it's too many to name. There's so many films that he's been in that I'd like to edit with, that I just haven't gotten around to yet, so honestly, there's a lot, like, there's a lot. I also do, though, one that I know for sure on the top of my head, I want to edit with SLC Punk, like, so bad. I need to find the perfect song that the film's whole vibe is just so good that I don't know what song is going to, like, encapsulate that perfectly, but once I find a song, it's over for you guys. What are your other hobbies aside from Animash? Just editing in general. Like, I like editing with my interests. I really like drawing. I like doing, like, traditional art and digital art. I like doing photo editing here and there. But yeah, I think drawing is kind of my main hobby outside of editing and Animash. I also really like to write. I really have a lot of fun writing. Is there any persona you've had in the past that you've wanted to use again? Honestly, I've gone on and off of having Angel as one of my personas, like, literally since I started Animash. I feel like Angel's kind of the right answer. Like, Angel is one of my favorite characters of all time, just point blank period. I love Angel so much. So sometimes I want to use Angel as a persona, but I kind of fluctuate between having Angel on my list and not. So yeah, I think my answer would be Angel. Any upcoming travel plans, and if not, where would you like to go? I don't have any plans at the moment. Right now I'm kind of just saving up my money and seeing where that takes me, but, yeah, I don't know. I'd like to go. There's a lot of places I'd like to go. I've always wanted to go to Canada just to visit, just to see what that's about. There's a lot of places I'd like to go to visit friends. So yeah, I'm just saving my money right now and seeing where that gets me, but I don't have anything, like, set in stone. If you could do anything in a day, what would you do? Well, okay, I have, like, a couple answers to this question. Like, if I was planning it, if I was ready, like, my ideal day, I guess, would be, like, driving up to LA and doing, like, a photography day. I haven't done that in so long, and I love doing it so much. Like, it's literally been almost a year. Yeah, in a month, it'll be a year since I've been in LA. So I'd really, really like to go back and take more pictures. But, you know, assuming that I don't get up there, because that's like a 2-hour drive. On a typical day, I like to either edit or draw or watch a movie with friends, just kind of wherever the day takes me. If you wake up in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe, what's the first thing you do? I am kicking down the door to Mr. Steve Ragland's career counseling office. That's the first thing I'm doing. No, but I'd really just like to go to the pizzeria. Like, to be honest, I feel like it would just be so cool to see it in person, to live that. I actually, a couple times in the last few months, I have gone to one of the last Chuck E. Cheese locations that I know of, at least, that still has the animatronics. I just love seeing the animatronics so much. So I think I'd really just like to go to the pizzeria in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe to see Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. I think that would be so cool, just exploring the whole pizzeria, seeing the animatronics in person. You know, if Spring Bonnie wants to show up, that'd be cool too. What inspired you to become a YouTuber? Honestly, like, this was so many years ago at this point, but I was a kid. I don't remember how I found Animash. I think I was just looking at movie clips or something on YouTube, and it was recommended to me as, like, the next video. But once I found out that Animash was a thing, that there were people out there who were using their favorite films, using their favorite shows, and putting them to music, which was something I always wanted to do as a kid before I even knew the concept of editing existed, I was just so excited. I was like, oh my god, there's people who do this. Like, they don't just think about it, they make it happen. So I feel like I always had that, like, editing instinct in me. I just didn't know that editing was even a thing until I found it. What editors do you use? For all my videos, I use Sony Vegas. I think I'm literally pulling it up. Yeah, Sony Vegas Pro 13 is what I use for all my videos. I use After Effects only to make masks. I don't know how to use After Effects to edit. I use Photoshop for, like, manips, or Paint Tool Sci for redrawn manips. And those are kind of my big four. How do you make a good MEP thumbnail? I am not good at making MEP thumbnails, I don't think. I usually just, like, I think of the vibe that I'm going for the MEP, I think of the theme, and I think of kind of what colors I think would fit, but, you know, I'm usually not too picky if people follow it or not. But yeah, like, a couple of recent examples, like, for my celebrity MEP, I just picked pictures of Matthew Lillard because I knew I was editing with Matthew Lillard, and I thought the coloring fit the song. And for my U MEP, that one is not done yet, the ID MEP, I picked pictures of Carl from The Walking Dead, because he's an ID of mine, and I picked a coloring that I thought would work with the song. So I'm just picking things that I would use for the MEP that go with the theme, and then I kind of try to pick a coloring that I think goes with the song. What inspired you to do Animash? I basically just answered that, so I'm gonna skip out on this one, kind of. I'll go really quick, but yeah, it was basically just, like, seeing other people were actually making it a thing really kickstarted my creative desire to do the same thing. Who is your Disney comfort character? Honestly, Angel, I think. I love Angel so much. I have recently commissioned some plushies of her, because there's not enough merch of her. Yeah, I love Angel so much. She's such a cute character. She's so sweet. How do you use overlays? It really depends on the overlay and the type of, like, look you're going for, to be honest, at least for me. Like, I don't know, I like messing with the different layer modes because it makes the overlay look different. It gives off a different vibe depending on what layer mode you pick. Yeah, I love messing around with the layer modes. Sometimes I'll change the color of it. If you add different effects on the overlay, it makes it look different. Whenever I make a video, I have a specific vibe in my head. Like, I can almost see the finished edit, whether it's something I can actually achieve or not in my head. So I do whatever I think will get me closest to that idea in my head. How do you come up with the effects you use? This is somewhat similar to my last answer. Like, I honestly I can picture the edit so vividly in my mind. Like, I don't even have to really think about it. When I listen to a song, I just picture edits in my head all the time, like any song that I listen to. So, yeah, that literally sounds so weird. But, that's basically how I come up with what I do, because I'm always trying to replicate what I see in my head. Whether I do it successfully or not is a different story, but that's usually where my effect ideas come from. And of course, you know, I think those ideas in my head do stem from watching other people editing. So, of course, it is being inspired by other people. Do you have any inspirations? I'm always inspired by the other people in the community and the other editors that I'm surrounded with. Like, I really love seeing what other people come up with because I know how exciting it is to edit, how exciting it is to have that idea and see it come to life. And just seeing how creative everybody else is, and the ideas that they come up with, it really always leaves me in a cycle of inspiration to create my own things, you know, make my own ideas come to life. What tips would you give to newbie editors? Honestly, this one's just me being like nostalgic looking back, but save everything that you make. Even if you don't like it, save it. Just save everything that you make. I love looking back on my old videos. Even if they're not good, even if they're cringe, even if they're stupid, I love that I have them because I have been editing for years. Like, honestly, this is so much of my life now that I have spent making videos, and looking back on them is really, really special to me because it feels like a visual diary of my life, to be honest. Like, even if the videos aren't always about my life or aren't always about what's happening, I still look back on those videos and I remember why I made them, how fun it was to make them, or, you know, the story behind why I made it. Like, every video has a personal connection to me, and so looking back on everything that I've made is like one huge diary of my life for the last, like, whatever, 9-10 years. So really, my only tip is just save everything you make. Like, please, even if you don't like it in the moment, just keep it. Like, there's no harm in keeping it. And I feel like one day, you know, you may not think about it for a long time, but then years are going to pass and you're going to look back on it and you're going to be happy that you saved it. Who is your Animash persona? I think I touched on this earlier, but as of right now, I'm using Rano from Bambi 2, Robin from Wolfwalkers, Caltag from Balto, Scamp from Lady and the Tramp 2, and Alu from Balto 2. Hi, Harley! The characters you use to represent you, how and why did you choose them? So, Rano, I kind of touched on this a bit, but I'll go over it again. Rano, I really love his design. That's a big point why I chose him, but I feel like I really relate to him too because, you know, he's very loud, he talks a lot, he has a big mouth, he's kind of an asshole, but at the end of the day, I feel like it comes from a place of hurt and it comes from like a place of wanting to belong. Not to analyze myself, teehee, but I feel like I can relate to that a lot. And he's just really cute. Robin was that same, like, I don't know, I feel like I have alter human connections to her, not her as a character, but Wolfwalkers as a film really hit that part of me very hard. And I feel like that's a big reason why I picked Robin, because it just felt right to me. And it felt right to the wolf in me. Caltag, I picked because he's a husky and he's cute and he looks like a Shepsky. There's really no deep thought behind that one. I like Caltag as a character. And then Scamp and Alu are basically for the same reasons. Just that they're both like, they have wanderlust, they're rebellious, they are kind of fed up and want to find something bigger, something better, something greater than themselves, and I relate to that so heavily. That's a big reason that Scamp has been my persona for years now, and I always debated on and off about adding Alu, but I hated the quality of the movies so much that I was like, it's not even worth it. But huge thanks for the remasters, because that was literally honestly what pushed me to make Alu my persona. Are there any characters that you'd love to use as a persona but they just do not fit your vibe? Honestly, I feel like there's a lot of characters that would be really fun to edit with that, I just don't, I don't relate to, I don't see myself in. The first one who comes to mind is Steel. I don't know why. I don't even really like his design that much, but I really like his scenes. I know he's like always mad, but I feel like he'd be really fun to edit with. But I I don't vibe with steel. If you could mashify any character in the world and their permanent canon becomes an Animash film, who would it be and why? This is such an interesting question. Oh my god. You know, okay, this is a really, really weird answer, but I honestly feel like the It films, even though they're horror movies, would be really fun as, like, animated movies. I don't know, just, like, a little pack of dogs, these, like, little puppy dogs just fighting this otherworldly entity. I think that would be really fun to see. What do you miss about the Animash community? Honestly, I feel like it's not that different. Like, I've been here for so long that I don't know, I've lived through, like, the same cycles and the same patterns for so many years of my life that I feel like Animash is really, really similar to how it's always been. The one thing I guess that I do miss is, like, the era of Photoshop personas. I feel like that's such a stupid nothing answer in the grand scheme of things, but I really did love the simplicity of just, like, picking a character, slapping a hair tuft on, and being like, yep, that's me, guys. Like, I miss that. I don't know. I know that there's still people out there who do that, and I love that, honestly. Like, I love redrawn personas, don't get me wrong. I love the customization that comes with that, but I feel like there was something so special about that era of just, like, picking a collar color or bandana color and picking a hair tuft and slapping it on, and then that being, like, your character. I miss that sometimes. Is there any area of your editing that you want to improve on going into 2024? You know, honestly, I think I want to get better at, like, effects and transitions and stuff. I really don't mind having a more raw style because I feel like my style is very, like, dependent on clip choice. So I'm never really that caught up in the effects that I'm using, but I've been watching a lot of edits on, like, Instagram and stuff, like, people making those quick, flashy, you know, pretty edits, and I would love to do something like that, and I don't really know how. So I guess going into 2024, that's kind of my answer. I'd like to make something similar to those, like, you know, like the velocity edits, or just the ones with all the super cool transitions where it almost doesn't matter what clips you're picking because the main focus is the transitions. I'd really like to try something like that, just, you know, just to see if I can do it, if I can pull it off. And lastly, what's one place you've never visited before that you'd love to travel to? I think I touched on this one, but I do want to go to Florida to see Tyler. I think that would be super fun. And I'd also really like to go to Canada. I just think it would be super pretty. It's been something that I've wanted to do, like, since I was a kid. I don't even really know why. I just think it would be super nice to go up to Canada for a bit. What's your favorite season or time of year? I really love winter. You know, this winter, it probably sounds terrible to everybody on the other side of America, but this California winter has been very cold for us in California. Like, this is very cold for us, but I love it because it is so much easier to warm yourself up when you're cold than it is to cool yourself off when you're too hot. So that's the main reason that I love winter. I also just love, I don't know, I love Christmas. I'm not religious, but I celebrate Christmas. I love that time of year so much, like seeing all of the pretty lights, seeing all the decorations, hearing all the songs, and I know that that only comes in winter. So I really like winter, honestly. Show us your pets. What are their names and how old are they? So I have 2 dogs at the moment. Marco is a Papillon mix. We got him from a shelter. They said he was Papillon Pomeranian. I don't see the Pomeranian at all. I don't see Pomeranian at all. They had a picture of his mother. She was definitely a Papillon, and I can see it in his ears and his tail. He has, like, that fur texture. But his face is very, like, the mustache, that had to come from his dad. I don't know. So I don't know exactly what kind of dog he is. He is, God, I think they're they're 10. Yeah, I think they're 10. They're old men now. Their birthdays are in February, so they're coming up. And then this one is Bentley. I never call him Bentley. I call him Ben, Benny, Ben Man. He is a Shih Tzu Havanese mix. He's a little dork. He is ridiculous, but he's very sweet. Are there any pets you've never owned that you'd like to own in the future? I would love to have a big dog. I've only had 3 dogs in my life, and they've all been smaller breeds. The dog that I had before these 2 was he was a Shih Tzu Havanese mix. He was even smaller than Marco. So I've only ever had smaller dogs. I would love to own a big dog. I would love to have a German Shepherd. I would love to have a Shepsky. I'd just love to have a bigger dog. Favorite video that you've made in this past year? I always find, like, I end up feeling like my most recent videos are my favorites because it's kind of like every video that I make is my new peak of editing. Well, okay, that's not true to some extent. Every video that I really put effort into is like my new peak of my editing style. I really liked the one that I made of Springtrap, Spring Bonnie, the run edit. I liked that one a lot. I really liked my monster video with Billy and Stu, and I liked the Reject Social one that I did with Ghostface and Springtrap. Those were probably my 3 favorites. I liked Run Rabbit Run. I liked doing that like that sort of analog horror vibe. I really had a lot of fun doing that. That's a lot of answers. That is not, you said favorite video and I just gave like 5. I've gotten into a lot of new media this year. Like Five Nights at Freddy's isn't new media to me. I've known about this franchise for like 9 years or whatever, but the movie is new media. It's new media to everybody. So like, I feel like this past year between, Five Nights at Freddy's and Scream, and like there's a bunch of others, I feel like I've gotten into a lot of new media editing wise, and I really like playing with new things and seeing what I've made with them. Favorite art piece you've made in this past year? I've been having a lot of fun doing like Five Nights at Freddy's art, to be honest. I've made a few paintings of Springtrap. That's always fun. I've anything that I've done of the Spring Bonnie suit I really like, because I feel like every time that I do it, it gets a little bit better and a little bit closer to how he actually looks. And I did design my William Afton furry, and I like his design a lot. So honestly, just like a lot of the Five Nights at Freddy's art that I've made, I felt like, in a weird way, it felt like going back to my roots, because I really do remember being like, I don't know, 13, 14 years old, however old I was, and making like crappy little Five Nights at Freddy's drawings after I watched Markiplier's video for the first time. I don't have any of them anymore, but to come back now as 22, almost 23 years old, and drawing the same characters again, it's really, really fun for me. Have you ever had the feeling you're drawn to someone? Most anticipated movie of 2024. I honestly, I don't know anything that's coming out specifically this year. Obviously, I'm super excited for the next Five Nights at Freddy's movie, but that I really don't see that happening until 2025 at least. So I don't really know. I don't know of anything else that's being made right now that I'm looking forward to. If something comes up with Matthew Lillard in it, I'm gonna watch that. But as far as I know right now, I don't think there's anything this year that I have my eye on. The next thing I know for sure is the Five Nights at Freddy's sequel, but I think that's not gonna be till probably 2025. Is there anything specific you hope is included in the Five Nights at Freddy's sequel? I have spitballed so many theories about this movie that I probably sound like absolutely crazy, but to be honest, I really feel like I'm right, at least with some of the stuff. Okay, not with everything, but with some of the stuff, I feel like I've kind of cracked the code. So to be honest, I'll put a spoiler warning, but all of this is speculation. Like, I could be completely wrong about everything. But for the Five Nights at Freddy's sequel, I would really like some kind of confirmation that Mike actually is William's son. I know that that's kind of up in the air, especially with Vanessa being his daughter, since the movie canon decided that's where they were gonna go with that. Which honestly, okay, to be honest, like, not to go on a tangent, I don't even know if I believe that. Like, I could totally see him just, like, taking her and saying that she's his daughter. But I'm going off on a tangent. I really do, that's, like, a big thing for me in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. I really want Mike to be his son. I really do. So I'd like to see that worked in. I'm a bit curious if the quote-unquote father that we saw in all of Mike's flashbacks with Garrett was Henry Emily. I would like to maybe see them address that, and if that's not Henry, that's okay, but I want to see Henry. I really want to see, that's kind of, okay, I think that's my main thing that I'm really interested in. Theories aside, I really want to see something that takes place in Fredbear's Family Diner. I want to see William in his prime in the Spring Bonnie suit, luring the kids back. I want to see Henry. I want to see the Fredbear suit. I really just would love to see Fredbear's Family Diner and kind of where everything started for William. And yeah, just more of William in general. I think he's such an interesting character. I have so many theories about him, and I've analyzed him so much recently. So I really would like to see where they're planning to go with his character. Like, if nothing else, if none of my other theories are right, I just want to know more about William as a character, how they're perceiving him as a character, and since this canon is obviously deviating from the canon in the games, what has he done in this canon? Like, is there stuff that we don't know about that he's done? I find it all really fascinating. So I'd really like to see more of his past. Who are your top 5 favorite fictional characters? I'm gonna be so real with you. This list fluctuates so much. Like, honestly, like, I feel like I could have a different answer for this every day. But just, like, spitballing off the top of my head right now, obviously William Afton, but that also goes in with Spring Bonnie / Springtrap. I consider them all, like, one. So they're all probably, number 1 right now. I love Steve-O from SLC Punk. I love that movie so much, and I love Steve-O so much. Foxy is another favorite. Foxy's always been my favorite animatronic since I was a kid. I love Foxy so much. Deviating from FNAF and Matthew Lillard, though, I really love Richie from It. He's a big comfort character for me. I've loved those movies since I was, like, 16 years old, so that's always a big comfort. And Carl from The Walking Dead. I know I keep saying that I need to finish that show, and I do. I mean, I've finished it, I've watched it. I watched it before when I was a kid, but, I need to finish my rewatch. But, I love Carl. I really do. I know that was, at least at one point in time, a controversial Walking Dead take, but I don't care. I think he's a really good character. I really wish, spoilers for a show that's, like, I don't know, like 6 years old at this point, probably more. But I really wish that they hadn't killed him off. I'm really still bitter about that because he had so much more story in the comics that was going for him that they took from him for no reason, other than shock value. But yeah, I really love Carl. What Animash movie would you rewatch over and over aside from editing with it? When I was a kid, there was probably about, I want to say 4 or 5 years of my life where I watched Bolt almost every day. Like, honestly, that is not an exaggeration, almost every single day. So Bolt holds a really special place in my heart still, and it really fits for this question. If you mean, like, now, as in now, I really like Lady and the Tramp too. I really like it as a movie, honestly. I can watch that movie whenever. I don't get sick of it. I love it so much. Do you have any plans for 2024? I've been trying not to make plans because I don't really want to let myself down if I don't achieve them. So I'm kind of trying to stray from that, at least until I can get more things like set in stone. But yeah, I don't really have any specific plans. Can you speak another language besides English, or what language would you like to learn? I've taken a lot of Spanish classes in my life, and I don't know why, like, I didn't retain any of it, but I really wish that I could speak Spanish. It would be really, really beneficial for me, like, at my job. I know some French. I took French in high school. I know a bit of French, not really enough to get me around or hold a conversation, but, like, I can read French pretty okay most of the time. Do you believe in anything non-religious, astrology, destiny, fate, and karma? I am not, like I said, I'm not religious, but there's no way that there's not some kind of higher force or higher power. I just call it the universe because I don't know what else to call it. But yeah, I put a lot of faith in the universe, in fate, in karma, in stuff like that. I really do believe in, like, signs. So I am spiritual, I guess I would say is the word that I want. Oh, and past lives too. Like, you can't convince me that we haven't all had past lives. So yeah, I do have beliefs. I'm not religious. I don't tie myself to any religion, because I find, honestly, that just does not work for me. But I definitely am spiritual. Are there any animals you'd wish to see in upcoming animated movies, Animash media? Bats. Please, we need more bats. I would love to have a bat persona so much, but I don't really vibe with any of the bats that I know of, at least in media. I would love to see bats. I would also love, like, a good German Shepherd character, like... I mean, obviously, I feel like most studios are at the point where they're done with, like, the hand-drawn animation, but, like, a German Shepherd character in the style of the original Lady and the Tramp, like, just a movie about that, I would eat that up. Like, that bitch would be my persona. So that would be really cool to see. What's some of your favorite manips you've ever made? I have so many manips that it's really, like, I have a ton of folders, with all of the manips that I've made that I've kept over the years. To be honest, one of my favorite things is, designing characters for existing characters, like making a design for, like an Animash design for a human character. That's my favorite thing to do, just, like, period. So I have some recent ones that I've done. Here's Billy and Stu from Scream. Here's William Afton, Mike. This is David from American Werewolf in London, and Jack. Yeah, I guess that's my favorite manips that I've made, is just any time that I make a design for an existing character, because that's my favorite thing to do is pick, like, dog breeds for people. And I love designing based off of that. What's some of your fave MEPS you've ever been a part of? I mean, obviously Paper Rings. That sounded sarcastic, but it wasn't. I really like being in MEPS in general, just, like, being part of a group project is really fun for me. Some ones that come to the top of my head, when you said that, was, the New Romantics, Pride MEP hosted by Hallelujah. I really, really liked that MEP. I really liked being in that MEP. I love the finished product. I really liked the Merry Christmas MEP from Orenda Studios. That one's really fun. I had fun editing my part, and it's such a sweet, sweet MEP. And I also really like the Why Am I Like This multi-fandom MEP from Mountainous MEPs. That one's kind of recent. I split apart with Lucian in that, and I really like that MEP. I'd never heard that song before, and now I'm obsessed with it. And so I like rewatching that MEP over and over. It came out really good. Show a few of your favorite cakes you've decorated over the past year and your most challenging one. So this is a fun fact for anybody who doesn't know. I work in a grocery store bakery, and I'm like an on and off cake decorator for them. It's not necessarily my quote unquote position, but I do it when they need somebody, and I was kind of the main cake decorator for a while. I like making cakes. I see it as an art form. It's like a physical art for me. I really like it. Some of my favorite cakes that I've made, this one was based off of a kit. It's not like I came up with the design, but I liked making the SpongeBob one. That was really fun. I've made werewolf cupcakes. I liked those. Those were cute. I've made dog cakes before. Yeah, I like experimenting. I like picking different colors that match together, but I also like trying to make something that resembles something. Are there any foods you hate and would never eat, or any foods you initially didn't want to eat but were surprised you enjoyed? I hate nuts. I hate the texture of nuts. I hate the taste of them. I hate them in other food that would otherwise be good. That's like the one thing I refuse to eat. It's mostly a texture thing. But I really, yeah, that's a no from me. Foods that I initially didn't want to eat, but was surprised that I liked. This is gonna be like such a stupid answer, but the first thing that came to mind for me was asparagus. Like, it doesn't look good, but then you cook it, it's really good. It is really good. Especially if you have it with like meat or salmon or something. Like, okay, that slaps. Like, so I guess that's probably my answer. But yeah, I'm kind of a picky eater in general, and I'm like a creature of habit. Like, if I find something that I like to eat, I'll just eat it over and over and over again. I get like obsessed with certain foods. So there's a lot of things that I don't want to eat because it's not the specific foods that I already know that I like. What drew you to William Afton as a character, and how does your connection to him differ from other favorite characters in the past, like Richie or Boris? Can I just say you are so big-brained for this question? I read this and I literally got so excited to answer it. Okay, it's really funny because when I was into Five Nights at Freddy's as a kid, I did not care about the lore very much. I didn't really care about Spring Bonnie. I didn't care about William Afton. I liked the main four animatronics. Once I found out that they were making the movie and I started really properly getting into the lore, because like when I was a kid, I honestly didn't really know the lore that well. I'd watched Markiplier play the games and I liked the games, I liked the characters. I didn't really understand the lore. So getting into the lore once I knew the movie was coming and actually trying to properly understand the story of Five Nights at Freddy's is one of the big things that drew me to William Afton. I think he's a really, really interesting character. I really like the idea of... Honestly, I think a lot of the things that interest me about him are kind of just like me spitballing, but that leads to my next point that like I feel like he's so easy to analyze and so easy to kind of like pin things on. I don't know. He's like his own little dough ball. Like, you can kind of form him however you want. Because I see so many different interpretations of him and they're all really interesting. Some of my personal favorite ones for him is like, like, I don't know, his persona basically that he uses to represent him is literally a non-binary femme presenting rabbit. Like, I have a lot of queer subtext ideas for him. I feel like he's probably genderqueer and in denial. He's probably, I don't know that he's gay, but I know he's definitely like queer. So I think that's a really interesting thing for me, at least, to kind of read into and try to figure out about him. But it's even not just like the queer subtext, it's just his mentality. I think he's a very interesting character. I especially like in the movie, I'm thinking of the scene, the career counseling scene, like he plays a part. I feel like he doesn't have his own personality half of the time, and he's very good at playing a part and trying to keep this facade up, and it's really interesting to me. That's another reason I'm really excited for the sequels, and I actually hope that we get a lot of, like, flashback scenes and, like, scenes of kind of when things snapped in him and when he started, you know, doing the killings. Because I think he's a really interesting character. I just kind of want to know more about how his brain works, why he is the way that he is. Because everything that I have right now is just, like, at least speculation on my end. Like, I'm sure there's a lot out there that I could kind of bounce off of, but I like coming up with my own things, especially based on the movie. So yeah, long-winded answer short. I really like William because I think he has so many different sides to him. Like, every angle, he's such a multi-angled character. Any light that you see him in is, like, a little bit different. Like, you can just do so much with him, and I like characters like that. And I think that's what differs him, like, my connection to him with other favorite characters that I have, like Boris or like Richie. Because, like, I feel like with, like, Boris, like, he has a very defined personality. Like, you know, at least in the novel and in the film. And same with Richie, you know, he obviously, he has this very defined personality. William is kind of different. I was writing a fic the other day, and I described him as, like, a unpredictable rabid fox, and I feel like that's a really good, like, way to look at him. Like, he's very unpredictable. He switches up a lot, and I really like that about him, but I feel like that's different. Like, I'm not used to liking villains. That's not usually my thing. He's kind of, like, he's a first for me in that aspect. So I think that's what kind of sets him apart and what makes him really fun. Because, yeah, any villain, like, Stu came after William Afton, of course. So, yeah, I just, like, yeah, I think he's a really interesting character. I like analyzing him. I like his lore. I love him. Do you have any ideas for future videos or MEPS that you'd like to share? This is a really cool question, honestly. I have a lot of edit ideas, but I don't have anything down that's, like, specific. I like I said, I want to make a video with SLC Punk. I would really love to do that. I just need to find a song for that. I would like to do a video that kind of goes through all of Matthew's roles, at least, like, the ones that I've seen. I also need a song for that, but I think that would be really fun because his range is insane, dude. Like, he has such good range. I feel like I'd have to pick, like, a fun song for that. That would be really fun. And as far as MEPS go, I'm hosting the Get This Party Started, the celebrity one right now. I'd like to do another celebrity one, you know, sometime. I also think I don't have a song for this, and don't hold me to it, but I feel like an analog horror MEP would be really fun. Not necessarily Animash, like, it could be multi-fandom, because I'd probably use Five Nights at Freddy's, but something like my Run Rabbit Run video, but as a MEP where we're all kind of collaborating to make something like that. That would be really fun. Yeah, those are my ideas, just, like, spitballing right now. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for asking me all of those questions. I had so much fun doing the answers. I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I just finished recording. This is almost an hour long, like, just my base recording. Obviously, I'm taking this in Vegas and cutting it up, but I really don't know how long this final video is going to be. I know it's going to be long. So if you watched all of this, thank you so much. I don't know why you would watch all of this. It's literally just me rambling for, like, an hour. But thank you so much, and thank you guys so much for asking me so many questions. You guys are the ones who make these Q&As happen, and I really love doing them. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much for watching.